Hey folks, it's becoming greener and greener up here in the mountains. Down in town it's actually full-on foliage, but up here above 2,000 feet it's just buds so far. I drove up this old logging road about as far as I could go, and now I'm on foot heading towards an old stone foundation that we'll talk a little bit more about once we get there. Looks like I'm not alone here. The size of that moose print. I like it up here in the higher elevations. Got a ways left to go on this logging road, and then we have to kick off and bushwhack through the forest. All right, folks, finally arrived to the foundation. We can see evidence of old logging activities here. Once I left the logging road, I got a little bit turned around, but luckily I have this place marked on my GPS because I've been here before. 2 years ago, the landowner invited me out here to do some metal detecting, and unfortunately, the ground is just so absolutely saturated with iron, wasn't able to find anything of interest. But today, I'm back with a brand new metal detector, the XP Deus, which excels in heavily ironed areas. Hopefully, we can find some things besides nails and sheet metal that are made out of brass, silver, or gold today. I'm gonna get it out, see what we can find. All right, well, we got our first good target here. As you can see down in here, I'm down in this kind of depression here, and the hole's filling full of water as we speak. Came up here a bit to show you what I found. It's covered in mud, but I'm going to tell what that is. I can't tell if it's complete yet. Oh no, I don't think it is. This is a Jingle Bell, or a Crotal Bell, people call them. Isn't that pretty? Oftentimes the older ones will have initials for the manufacturer. These were on harnesses for horses or wagons. Just like you would imagine, like the Christmas time Jingle Bell straps. This one, unfortunately, won't ring anymore because I suspect the clapper is gone, but it's a first good find. See if maybe we can find some more. Well, I am right in the thick of the iron here, right next to the foundation. And I just got the faintest little squeak, and it wound up being this little button, a little cuff button or something. Shoe button, and it's gold plated, and there's a little something or other on there, not sure, so we're going to spray it and see if maybe we can get to the bottom of what's on here. Looks like just a floral design, I think. I don't know, what do you think? Stalks of some kind. I don't know, that's kind of cool, but this tiny little coil on this metal detector heard this through all of the nails and all of the junk that's in here. It's pretty impressive. Alright, let's see what else is in here. Alright, we got another piece of horse tack here. Unfortunately, it was in a few pieces. I suspect it was dropped by its wearer and stepped on. Check this out. Isn't that pretty? I don't think there's anything in this center disc. There's a woodpecker over there. Let's clean it up just to be sure. No. But what this was, anybody know? This is part of a bridle rosette. It's a decorative appointment to a bridle, horse bridle. It would have been up on their head where some, you hear that woodpecker, where the straps all kind of converge. This would have been covering that. These come in all different shapes and sizes and decorations and designs. This one, it appears to be silver applied lead. Fortunately, it's broken, but it's a pretty one. Very cool. Okay, well, I just got a beautiful target on the metal detector, and I have been finding some iron horse tack, but I just found this, what was clearly a gold-plated buckle. Check it out. How cool is this little pattern on here? Now this is not a, colonial shoe buckle as we found earlier in this year. This is probably, judging by like the stamped construction here, early 1900s even. This may have been horse tack, but it's very, very delicate. I suspect this was worn on a person. Or a bag, I guess. Cool. Nice little design. In good shape too. You can see that green patina is pretty well intact. Very nice. When we first arrived here, I pointed out the evidence of old logging activity. And in fact, that's what this place is still used for. This property is income for the landowner. And while we are metal detecting around an old stone foundation from a couple hundred years ago, still very likely we're going to be finding things dropped by those loggers over the years. And on several occasions, I've been metal detecting places that were abandoned in the late 1700s, early 1800s, and we find things from the early 1900s, more than likely dropped by those loggers or perhaps a hunter walking through. Just a little detail to possibly explain why we find later things at an earlier site. No chainsaws out here today, though. Perfectly silent except for the birds. Let's keep going. Well, earlier today I found two pieces of the same harmonica. It has a lot of reeds in it, more than usual. And this one goes along with it. They were pretty close to each other. And I'm like nowhere near where I found that one. And I just found a metal case for one. Lover. I believe it says Lover. I know it's super bright. Let me get it out of the sun. Lover. Unfortunately, it broke, or it was broken. But we've got some like shamrocks on this side. Another shamrock and some looks like serial numbers. I'm not sure when this is from. I'm going to guess early 1900s, but since there's brand name on there, serial numbers, we'll be able to figure that out pretty exactly. Very cool. We find these harmonica reeds all the time, almost weekly. Very rarely do we find a case to a harmonica, and even more rare, it has a name on it. Very, very nice. Well, like harmonicas, spoons come up every time, and typically multiple. Here's another one. I found like 2 or 3 of them today already. But look at this one. It's so little. And it's very, very ornate. Look at that. It does have a little stamp back here that says silver plate. Obviously it's not solid silver, but come on, look at that little guy. Our mind automatically goes to like a child's spoon, but more than likely this was for like salt or a condiment of some kind, a small little tablespoon for serving. Something used in small quantities. It's kind of cool. It's not bent up or broken or anything. It's perfect little 125-year-old spoon. Very cool. Just got kind of an interesting iron artifact, one that I can't identify. I mean, this appears to have been a tool that, would have been on a handle of some kind. And it's just a spike. Yeah, it's just like a pick. I'm trying to rack my brain for what this might have been used for. Maybe ice on a handle, right? Picking at ice. You have to imagine in these times people were using ice to, like a refrigerator through the summertime. Let me know what you think. Pretty interesting. An old iron tool pick. Man, I don't know what it is about this place. But we just found another one of these pretty little, what I'm going to call a sash buckle. It's another one of these kind of stamped brass constructions. Very thin. There would have been a sheet of brass, and then there would have been, in an industrial process, a machine would have go chunk and like cut this out, and then little tabs would have been folded over. But man, look at that thing. I guess this is the front. I thought this was the front, but it's not. All right, well, you can see the plating on here that would have, at one time shined nice and gold. Little sash buckle. I have to assume, like I said, these are on dress or very, very, what we would say, like ornamental horse tack. Not going to hold up if you had a leather strap here pulling something. This is not what this is made for. This is meant to be pretty. And it is pretty. Pretty interesting. So springtime in Vermont, especially in the mountains, brings with it these, just landed on the lens, black flies. And black flies really ignore bug spray. I'm always very grateful for the comments that folks leave on my videos, recommending different types of bug spray. Avon Skin So Soft and DEET and all of these different types of sprays. And I do wear Deep Woods. It's like 95% DEET, but it doesn't affect these black flies, unfortunately, which is why I have my hood up today and why I'm usually wearing one of these scarves that I can put up, because there's nothing worse than black flies flying in your ears and in your nose and in your mouth when you're trying to breathe or talk. So that's what this guy's for, and I will usually wear it straight through the summertime, because about a month the mosquitoes will be out, which are not quite as bad, but still pretty bad. I'm gonna fight through them, see what else we can find. Alright, well, I got a pretty common find here. I lost it. Let's see if I can find him again. Here, there. Well, first I found this, which is suspenders, and then I found more of the suspenders. And as I'm rechecking the hole here, there's still more down in there. So I'm not really sure what else there could be, unless it was, I don't know, the whole setup. Let me see together. Oh yeah, there's another one. See that? Is there another? Oh, there still seems like there's more in here. Oh, that was a bullet. Unrelated. Maybe, I don't know. Here, we could come up with a tale of how 3 suspenders and a bullet wound up in the same hole. No, I think that's it now. But that's pretty interesting. As far as I understand it, there should be another one. It looks like this and this is the same piece, but this one is missing the little loop. And then this, obviously, based on this, the shape of the hole here, a little button would have gone through and collapsed like that. So, I don't know. Pretty interesting little hole here of some suspenders and a bullet. a modern bullet. Pretty cool. Just got a pocket watch back, and usually, I only show them if there's engraving of some kind, like initials of the previous owner. But this one doesn't have that, but it does have what appears to be a manufacturer. Pretty sure it says Pioneer. I'm going to have to hit the old Google when I get home and see if we can figure out when these folks are in business. But that's always great, being able to find something and identify it. It's a pocket watch. You can see the hinges down there. And then finding a brand, then being able to put a date on it, and then, adding that date to the history of the place that we're at. Not an exciting or valuable find in and of itself, but exciting for me because I get to do some research now. All right, we've got a bit of a mystery here. It was quite deep. I barely heard it with my tiny little coil. I believe this is like a lead, might even be a pewter of some kind. And that almost looks like there was a shank there, but look at how thick it is. It's definitely not like a fired musket ball or something like that. These look like cast lines that it was in a mold. I'm not sure, is this an old button? I've never seen one quite like that before. Let me know what you think. Is Does anybody recognize that? Weird one. Moving on. Well, I decided to take a break from the foundation, give my ears a rest, all that iron that's in the ground. And we're kind of wandering around the property now. This might have been a pasture, it might have been an orchard. There's a very old apple tree over there. I found something round that is not a nail, and I think it might be a coin. It might be a button. I might have spoken too soon, but I think it's a coin. And judging by the thickness of it, I think that it's probably an early Indian head penny. Yeah, I can see the headdress right there. And like I said, judging by the thickness of it, we know that it's a very tight range of dates, late 1850s, early 1860s. Let me get my toothbrush, see if we can read the date at the very least. All right, can you make that out? I think that's 1863. Makes sense how thick it is. That's almost a large cent. just a little bit later, what would have been a large cent. Awesome. Hey, you know what? A coin's a coin. It's got a date on it that we can read, which, matches up with the history of the site. It's a win in my book. Since it's been such a slow day today, we're going to check this area one more time to see if there's any more, and then we'll end the day on a high note, get our stuff out here and take a look at it all. All right, well, it is the end of the day, and it was a long, buggy one. We found some pretty interesting things, nothing incredible, but, we did pretty well in this very iron-infested area, considering last time I was here. Didn't really find anything. Got it all laid out here. Let's take a look. Despite it being an incredibly long day playing around in that iron, we did manage to find a whole bunch of non-ferrous targets here. I have them all propped up on this nice piece of quartz. Starting from the back here, we've got 1, 2, 3 spoon fragments, some more harmonica pieces, a couple pieces of oil lamp, 2 pieces of perhaps the same pocket watch, this Pioneer pocket watch, but there's no writing on this, so it's hard to say for sure. All 3 of these things were scattered about. It wasn't all in the same hole, so who knows. I have a toe tap. That's a pretty common find, went on the end of a boot. We have my arch nemesis, the scythe blade nib. This held, like a Grim Reaper tool onto the wooden shaft, and they sound just like big old copper and silver coins. Crotal bell, harmonica that says "Lover" on it. Teeny tiny little serving spoon. Couple very, very fancy buckles. We do have a piece of horse tack here, which is a bridle rosette, and then all of our small stuff out front here. 3 pieces of probably the same rig of suspenders holding somebody's pants up. 1, 2, 3, 4 buttons. This one especially pretty with a floral pattern on there. Mystery lead piece, which appears to be cast. Maybe there's a hole for a shank. It might be a button, but it's not like one I've ever seen before. And then last but not least, closing out the day, the one and only coin, the Indian head penny, which I believe the date is 1863, which is plenty old for me. Oh, and our iron tool here, whatever it is, a pick of some kind. I want to thank you again for watching. Hopefully next time the black flies will have died down a bit. I know it's annoying when they fly into the microphone and the camera lens, and it will more than likely be a whole lot greener out here. Thanks again. I'll see you next week.